Hello, thank you very much for joining us again. This is the Scottish Guy Does Gaming, and I'm the Scottish Guy. Today we're going to have a wee review of a couple of matches that I've had over the past couple of weeks. Thank you very much for your continued support and helping us getting the channel to hopefully one of the best, but we'll see. So starting us off, match against Norska and High Elves. Ran quite a basic, what I feel is a basic build. Two lines, one with Marauders and one with Marauder Berserkers, and then we've got Marauder Champions up at the back there. One section of Skin Wolves and two Marauder Hunters and two Ice Troll, Ice Trolls and a Feral Mammoth, and of course the Marauder Horseman there in the flank. Wilfric the Wanderer, of course, leading those forces, and in the High Elves, front line of Ship's Company, kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. The Archmage of Life, going to be trying to support them there. The underflanks, two section, well, a section of spearmen each on each flank. Some Lothern Sea Guards as well, and of course the Dragon Princes there at the back. The Regiment of Remind, they do look just so cool, flaming lances and stuff. Aye, if I was to be any character, definitely want to be at least one of them. Cool armor and stuff, and then they've got the big, I think it's called a Myrmidon, but I can't remember off the top of my head. It just looks like a big sea lizard kind of thing, an ugly sea lizard at that. But yeah, looks like it's a colossal monster, definitely right. Looks like something like a Godzilla. Right, but that seems to be the kind of both sides in the battle there. So I'm going to get the battle started. What I've noticed on some of these battles is that sometimes people tend to be quite slow with it, so I don't really feel necessary that I always have to attack. Sometimes I just let the other person start moving before they kind of make them think that, I'm not going to move, or if I'm AFK or something like that. And then I'll kind of decide to, based on what's going to be coming forward, I'll then decide whether or not what troops I'm going to start sending first. So opening up the battle age, the Archmage is kind of suiciding in, so I just decide to send some Marauders up there, just to kind of start getting some melee damage on her. I know it's lower life, but even though they can still regenerate their health, it kind of takes away from that as much, like the kind of pool of how much health they can actually get back. But she's going to run into the trees. Then we've got Wolfric just kind of chilling out at the front. I'm really just doing that just so I can bait out some of their the missiles, because I don't want it hitting my war elephant. My elephant's going to be my kind of muscle here. So speeding it up a wee bit just to get into the batch. So as you can see over the side, the Marauder Horsemen are getting fired on into the trees, but because they are in the trees, it's going to give them some cover. It means that they're not going to be as squishy as usual, to be honest. They are quite squishy, but the trees look like they're getting as a wee hand there. Then front line just beginning to charge, arrows firing in. Luckily their arrows are hitting my Marauders, so their shields are going to give them a wee bit of missile resistance. And then we're going to see, this was hilarious. I must admit, it was a wee bit like, as I said earlier, like Godzilla fighting one of the monsters and stuff like that, because the War Mammoth and the Myrmidon just get right into it. Let them fight. And Archmage is going to try and run in here, but the brilliant thing is here, again I made a mistake a wee bit, because I should have just sent my Skin Wolves just to kind of charge her down, but ended up not. But our Marauder Hunters did manage to get some damage. Wolfric in the middle of the fight there with the Dragon Princes. Other than Seaguard trying their best, but the front line's just not able to hold the pressure. I mean, Ship Company are good troops, but they're not good front line troops. As soon as like another unit will charge into them, they kind of just crumble. But unless, I suppose, if you've got the, I guess, Aslan, the Sea Lord did, for the High Elves, he gives us like a wee attribute that make them unbreakable, which make them a lot more useful in dealing with early on troops and games and stuff like that. But not in a multiplayer game. They just get diminished. But yeah, the Dragon Prince is trying to save what they can, but they're not. They've not managed to get a good charge. And Masculine Wolves have just managed to come in and get a perfect charge off and been able to start tearing them to shreds. But that's the end of the first game. Quite a sound victory, I must admit. But anyway, so next game coming in here is Lizardmen vs Dwarves. Went for quite a unusual build for me as it goes, because when I tend to go Lizardmen, I don't tend to use a lot of air units. So this was kind of one of my kind of fuck it kind of builds. One of those ones where you're just going, I'm just going with this and hoping for the best. But so we've got Ripperdactyls, 2 Pterodon Riders, Tic-Tac-Toe is going to be leading us off here. 3 units of Saurus Warriors with Skinks kind of interlocked in between, with the Croxicors kind of backing them up as well. So 2 Croxidors and 2 Skink cohort. The Saurus Warrior, the Scar veteran, is also backing them up as well, and he just looks like he's ready to square go every day. He's not in a good mood. He's not happy the Lords are on his land, so he's going to eat them. But yeah, so we've got some Velociraptors in there. I know they're called Feral Cold ones, but it's just easier just calling them Raptors. So that's exactly what they are. So Dwarves Miners with blasting charges at the front with the Ironbreakers, Normglin Ironbreakers, and then Longbeards, 2 sections of Longbeards with great weapons. McAllison's the leader with a Ravensmith, and then 2 Slayers off on the side. But kicking it off, just a suicide dive with the Ripperdactyls and Tic-Tac-Toe, with the Pterodons just kind of helping. And I feel like when I started fighting this one, I just started looking and realising this is kind of like an Avatar moment where when the big ships come to destroy their land, and then the head Avatar did just starts leading them in a big massive charge for the other kind of flying reptile things. But it just kind of gave me vibes. Nordgloom and Ironbreakers going to throw their missiles, and I mean, talk about cooked. That's yeah, the lizards are cooked. I mean, I can smell them from here almost. They did not have a good day. But the Thunderbirds getting absolutely wrecked. Cold Wind Riders, no, the Cold Wind. This is why I'm calling them Raptors from now on, because Cold Wind Ride, feral Cold Winds, and not saying Cold Winds all the time. It's really annoying me. So Raptors it is. Raptors into the Slayers with the Saurus Warriors backing them up, and then we've got the Carnosaur just coming into the fray. But they didn't really pick a massive dwarf army, to be honest. They kind of waiting for kind of short, sweet, and kind of fueled most of their money into the Thunderbirds. But I don't think he was really encountering to have much like air kind of forces. I didn't think that's what they expected. They didn't expect anything really air. They were expecting me just to kind of come in and land and just try and kind of push them off that way. But as it was an unusual build, it must have just been an unlucky day for them. But finishing off the forces here, been able to push up to the capture point. Their forces are kind of singled out now, so taking them basically, divide and conquer, as Julius Caesar would say, is going to be the name of the day here. Slayers getting running away, Raptors catching them just in the background there. Tic-tac-toe is now just looking for targets. But yeah, then you've got Longbeards charging in. And at the back, the cold ones, I mean, they will do damage to the Raptors, but the other Saurus warriors that are there should be able to deal with that pretty handily. Skinks and Croxigors into these, it looks like they're more Longbeards. Yeah, looks like more Longbeards. And they are just slowly grinding. I do like having the combination of Skinks and Croxigors, especially obviously for that wee spawn kin ability, which gives, I think it gives the Croxigors the extra armor piercing damage and stuff, and it gives the Skinks like fear attributes and stuff. So, ooh, the explosion going off there by the runesmith, not liking the crocodiles eating their pals. Yeah, just slowly grinding away. But that was the battle was pretty much over. They're too strong out now, and now it's just a matter for the rest of my forces just to kind of surround them and start eating, start having a nice wee feast. Every time I play this faction, the theme of Jurassic Park just keeps on playing through my head. Don't go into the long grass. Not into the long grass. I still get annoyed at Jurassic Park 3 for the Spinosaurus killing the T-Rex, because that just wouldn't happen. You know what I mean? T-Rex is massive compared to the Spinosaurus. That's my only criticism of the Jurassic Park series. Don't get me wrong, it was a cool villain to have. It was cool. I suppose it gave him a certain fear factor, but see if they kind of explained more how the genetic mutation, with the genetics they were doing, like it had a genetic mutation making it bigger than a typical Spinosaurus or something like that, or more aggressive. Like, I would totally get that, but it couldn't. I mean, I probably need to look into it a little bit more, but it's obviously just an audience that's just kind of watching the film, not really kind of taking much into the books or anything like that. It would be kind of a better idea to show, like, how the Spinosaurus, how like it was kind of different from what people would typically think from a Spinosaurus. But who knows? We'll see what happens in the next coming years. But my guy McAllison slowly just meeting his fate, getting eaten alive by dinosaurs. But yeah, looks like he's finished. Yeah, that's him finished, and that's the second game. So we'll just get one more kind of game to kind of showcase here, and that is the Norska versus Greenskins. Decided kind of along similar lines, going with Marauders, now Skinwolves. It's kind of a favourite of mine, to be fair. I do like using a section of Skinwolves, but depends on the situation really, because if you find like high elves, for example, Sisters of Avalon will just rip them to shreds, whereas like these are only like wee kind of goblin riders. They do damage, but not much to cause concern. Throg slowly marching these units up here, so he's got a couple of ice trolls there, marauders with the marauder berserkers, chariots at the side, and I've seen a skin wolfkin or something like that, like one of the hero werewolf dudes. And then we've got Grom the Paunch with looks like just kind of a basic line of orc boys with the big stone giant over there, and a river troll hag as well in there as well, and then of course they'll get their artillery just kind of bringing up the rear. Okay, and looks like we're going to get the charge in, backing these marauders up with the ice trolls just kind of help kind of smash them about a wee bit, especially with Orc Boys, because they are quite, although they're basic troops, they're quite sturdy. Chariot's coming in now. Didn't really get a good charge off, but need to try and get more into the back of them more than anything else. But as you can see, my Norscan Ice hounds in the back, they're just going to start ripping into the artillery, and the trolls and stuff are just going to tear into their front there. I mean, the berserkers there have just completely ripped through their line. That didn't even last 10 seconds, and with the ice trolls following them up in the rear, and they're on the back foot. Yeah, and then we've got another kind of Clash of the Titans moment with the Norscan giant fighting against the stone dude. I cannot remember the name. I know it's something idle, but I can't remember off the top of my head what it is. But Rogue Idol, there you go. So Rodgers getting kind of bullied a wee bit with the Orc Boys and the Orc Boy bigging War Pig dudes. But as you can see, everywhere in the battlefield's kind of under control. We've kind of broken out into 4 different wee fights. And then the Norscan Ice Wolves are just kind of eating them up in the rear. They've not managed to catch the Norscan Ice Wolves yet. I think he just completely was overwhelmed with the front line kind of crapping itself to begin with, and now it's just a slow grind for the ice wolves, the skin wolves, and the chariots just to kind of wrap up their archers. Didn't really get a good charge into that. That's why I was zooming into there to go, why, oh why, oh why did you just completely shite yourselves and no tear into them? But who knows these things. To be fair to the Greenskins, they have tried their best, but still, I feel bad for them. They're just completely wet themselves. Which I don't blame them if it was a bunch of Vikings with werewolves and stuff. I do not blame them at all. Giant still in the fray here. Looks like he's going to get bullied now. Where did the Skinware kids get into the River Troll and managed to break? Yes, it managed to break. It's going to be hunting, eating some troll for dinner tonight. Throg just bitch slapping his trolls and letting them know who's king. I know that Throg is meant to be the troll king, so it is quite poetic, him just bitch slapping trolls, telling them to get fucking back in line. And that one's just went flying. He's now coming back into the rest of the fight, see if he can bully Grom the Paunch. The fat orc. Yeah, and they're just going to get the last big hurrah there. Yeah, and that seems to be the game just wrapping up. Just a matter of waiting for these rogue idol to collapse, and then that should be game. Norscan Ice Wolves as well were quite pivotal in this game, I will say. I wouldn't, because they had so many archers kind of running around the back and they weren't really focusing on me, just made it that much easier for the Ice Hounds just to kind of walk right behind them and eat them. Grom not wanting any of this, leaving his River Troll to face the music, and it looks like she is getting bitch slapped. Yeah. And that's the final game. Thank you very much for everyone joining today. Take care, and I've been the Scottish Guy.